very accelerated time. I mean, Australia is literally burning. You know, what's happening in Iran is incredibly bad, and it could be ultimately catastrophic. Then, on the other hand, there's some other pieces of momentum, which I actually am going to spend a couple of minutes. We're off format. So as an example, in the post game, we're going to talk a little bit about Haiti's independence and celebrate that. We have a great clip from CLR James and Stuart Hall, but we're going to do a little commentary and then get right to Derek Davison because of all that's taking place. But I just wanted to start by saying, look, 2020 is here, and it is time to look at the big picture and get incredibly serious. Now, first and foremost, obviously, the number one task in the United States is making Bernie Sanders the nominee of the Democratic Party, then electing him president of the United States. This is an urgent, bare necessity task. A lot of work has been put into making the moment we're in possible. Here's a fact. We have the people. We can organize them to confront decades of neoliberal hegemony and the hopelessness that is instilled in our very core by what Mark Fisher accurately called capitalist realism. This will require building a movement, not a subculture, a movement that can bring people together from all across the country, from different backgrounds, different social practices, different ideas, beliefs, and attitudes, formed on a basis of solidarity with a real policy agenda. If democratic socialism isn't about building a mass movement and all the complexity that it entails, it's not going to achieve anything except a new section of rhetoric in our politics. And ultimately, rhetoric is only useful insofar as it is facilitating and amplifying real outcomes, from changing attitudes, building organization, and then, of course, ultimately, most importantly, delivering material gains. This is also happening globally. The world is rising up. Haiti, Ecuador, Chile, protesters continue to fight against neoliberalism, pushing to rewrite the Constitution under ruthless police suppression. In Bolivia, the coup government is meeting incredible organization and popular resistance. Vijay Prashad and I talked about the enormous bubbling up of resistance to the neo-fascism and Hindutva of the Modi government. In Brazil, a judicial coup blocked President Lula from running and almost certainly winning election. But due to investigative reporting and international mobilization, he is out of jail and leading in response to the disastrous Bolsonaro regime. In France, strikes, people are on the street fighting with every fiber they have against the failed neoliberal nightmare of the Macron government. We have a big fight ahead, and victory is far from guaranteed. But there are cracks, even in this disaster in the Middle East. Of course, this warmongering by the Trump regime could undermine this incredible crack that we actually do see in cross-sectarian, class-based organizing, which we're seeing particularly in Lebanon. It's there. It's emerged in Sudan. It's emerged across the globe. It's emerged in teachers' strikes and other strikes in the United States, and of course, in the U.S. context, first and foremost, in the Bernie Sanders campaign. We need to build and show solidarity abroad. But one of the most powerful things we can do is win this election for Bernie and have an actual humane presence willing to fight at the heart of empire. We need to learn to hit back hard against information, but not get bogged down in paying attention to pundits and other mediocrities. Our energy is best spent engaging with people directly. That strategy has to be worked, and it will be the only strategy that wins, because the anti-Bernie mood in the media will only grow and get more and more ridiculous as the campaign grows. That's why shows like this and all sorts of independent and alternative networks are incredibly important. But you've also got to be talking to your friends and family, making this real. This is exactly the time to aim to grow, not close in. Breaking through capitalist realism requires us all to end an individualism and atomization that has been forced on us. And again, it's not about building a subculture. It's about building a movement that allows us to come together as we are into something greater, a movement for people, no matter who they are, where they come from, that's unified on collective principles of basic dignity, goodness for all, not me, us. It's incredibly important, guys. And you see the freak out, you see the pushback, and that's because the gains are coming. And also we know that, look, I mean, what Bernie Sanders is proposing is the absolute bare minimum to viability, frankly, for the species. So, and increasingly, we have to go to Derek Davidson. I would be totally honest if I saw polling that indicated Bernie Sanders would be a heavy lift to win a general election. I would still make the case that he is the best candidate. But I would absolutely acknowledge that, because unlike apparently people who seem to have nothing else to talk about than the importance of beating Trump, even though I have many other things to discuss and deliver to you in terms of content, I actually agree with that. It's fundamentally, absolutely essential that Donald Trump be defeated. And between the $35 million raised in this last quarter, the millions of people organizing and doing real things, the head-to-head numbers where Biden and Sanders are always polling best, including in geographically vital states, we cannot pretend and allow other people to continue to pretend that Bernie is not only obviously the choice if you have a progressive policy commitment, but this is increasingly the most responsible course of action to take if you actually take seriously that we need to defeat Donald Trump, which we all do. The guy can continue providing amusing content for us from jail or wherever. That would be fine with me, but he needs to not be president. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.